Welcome back.
Party started?
Let's roll.
We are back, boys.
Back with the dad
Back
chapter.
and better than ever.
And this time around, we're going to talk about pre and post dad life. But first, I'd like to get into what just happened out there.
What did just happen out there?
He's just whooping some butt.
Domination.
I think what we saw was that the non-dad, dog dad, whooped our butt. What he has more recent experience. I think.
Non-dad, both athletic.
It's got the fur babies. Yeah. So, yeah, we just invented a new game.
What?
So it's Apple Cup.
Cup.
Yeah. So
Apple Cup.
get that trending.
I think I mixed that with applesauce.
Kevin walked in. Yeah, we got sauced, but Kevin walked in, thinking he was going to bring the party, but we already had the good stuff, right, T?
Yeah, we did.
We had the apple juice, and I was proud of us, TJ. I think we held our own, even though Kevin did dominate. But
Who came in last?
that would be me.
Making the team proud.
I think I was the true underdog, though. So that would have been a true underdog story. If we're going with the dad theory, that I have the least amount of time to practice. But I'm gonna have to get back into the game.
The dad theory.
But we'll run it back.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll run it back one day.
Let me know.
So, boys, this goes for both of you. So, how do you think fatherhood or future fatherhood has affected your friendships and identity?
It's a good one. Identity. I mean, while you mull that one over, Kevin, I mean, in terms of like my identity, I think it's given me just like the truest sense of what I'm meant to do in this world. Like since becoming a father, I feel like that has really validated like I was born to do this. Like I just love being a dad. It gives me like the most pride of any job that I've done. So I feel like it's certainly helped me with my identity, in terms of like I might waver on other things like, do I want to be a teacher? Do I want to be an NBA player? Do I want to be a garbage man? But like, in terms of being a dad, like that just comes natural to me. So I feel like that's helped my identity.
Have you actually thought about being a garbage man?
That was actually a true story. My first career goal, like my dream job was a garbage man. Growing up as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, I'd be on my 4-wheelers, like the Tonka trucks. I'd follow the garbage truck as far as I could, and they'd let me throw it in. Like that was back in the day when the guys would actually ride on the back, and they'd let me throw the trash in. No lie, I wanted to be a garbage man. And then, that dream, it's not too late, but that didn't happen yet.
That goes to show you know someone for majority of your life and you're still learning. You didn't know that.
I don't think I've ever told you guys that one, but
no.
Never too late to follow your dreams.
Hey,
I think that totally resonates with me. Probably couldn't have said it better in terms of identity. Like it's just, it's amazing feeling. Like you have this little thing you got to take care of. They look up to you every aspect of your life. Kev, what do you think, future wise?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of scary to think about that. Like your identity can really be so related to giving birth and having like something to take care of. And I don't know if identity is the correct word, but it's like essentially like it gives you that purpose. Not saying that there was no purpose before, but the purpose has a whole like new meaning in your life. And that maybe kind of is where your identity starts to evolve as time goes on. Because I'm assuming that, can't speak to experience, but from even just having the dog, it's like the amount of care and love you have for them compared to, I can only imagine, to a kid is probably just limitless in a way that like you will do anything for your child. And I think that's probably one of the first times you ever care truly about something more than yourself.
Ooh, I like that.
Beautifully said. Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
That was very well said. Actually, I'm a little bit in shock.
Oh yeah, no, that was, and that's the first time Kevin heard that question.
Yeah,
so that was good.
I think to follow up with that, do you think having Brody and Buster is preparing you for the next step in life? Yeah,
100%. I think the biggest thing that they taught me was unconditional love, and I'm assuming is the same thing as a parent to an animal or a child. Not saying they weigh or mean the same thing, but the unconditional love is the same thing. Like they don't care if you had a good day, bad day, any day in between. They don't care if you're amazing at your job or you're the crappiest garbage man on the street. They do not care. You are their dad, and they love you no matter what. And I think that really has changed my perspective. That good day, bad day, I'm always okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine like being excited to come home to see your kids. I mean, some days are probably easier than others and harder than others. But at the same time, it's like
still
purpose.
Love you. Yeah, purpose. It's like we talked about last week, TJ, with the literal handoff you did with your wife, you know, and you know, whether your day was crazy or not, like Tripp's sitting in his play area waiting for you, right? So you got to just go into dad mode and
you don't have a choice.
Yeah, walk me through that handoff. Is that like pre-planned? Is that kind of just like you guys know your roles, or like what is that?
That was having a busy late day at work, driving home, called her. Well, actually, no, she called me, yelling at me, telling me I was gonna be late. She was gonna miss her Pilates. I said, "Don't worry, honey.
You can't be late for Pilates.
gotta have me time."
That's her me time. So I said, "I'm on my way. I'll make it work." And I think I called or texted her as soon as I was pulling in the driveway. I left the car running, and she handed me. No, she said he was on the floor, and I got in the car. Or she got in the car and left. And you know, I had a busy day, but you're a dad now, so it doesn't end. It's like a continuation, and whether you, like he said, you have a good or a bad day, that's life. But that goes back to the beautiful chaos that we talked about.
Oh yeah,
so
100%.
Do you like mentally prepare for that? Like, do you like put on like a pump up song or like listen to like a podcast prior to like, all right, gotta get in the mindset, or is it just like?
Yeah, okay. the dad chapter gets me in the right mindset. That's what I've been jamming out to. No, I mean, I'm a country music fan. That gets me in the right mindset. But and the kids seem to like it as well. They nap pretty well to it. So starting them from a young age. But we had a similar situation this week, TJ, with a literal handoff. It was similar with the kids were napping in the car, right? So I just ran outside. My wife was driving. She had to go on a Zoom meeting. So she got home. I met her out in the driveway, just swapped basically. You know, I had my wallet on me and I just started driving. So they would, you know, continue to nap for a little bit. And then she went on to her Zoom meeting. So sometimes it's not even like kids aren't even in the house. It's just a car ride swap.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. My brother-in-law is a big fan of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's...
We joke around and say at work that on the weekends when he's not working, he's just driving around Tom's River. Because he's just trying to keep his kids busy or putting them to bed.
Oh, right.
And the car, there's just something
Sometimes
about the motion.
You see those commercials on TV and they're so true, you know, where they're advertising the smooth ride, the vehicles, you know, with like that puts the kids to sleep. And sometimes that's the only way they nap. So I've really discovered some hidden gems out there in New Jersey. Yeah, just driving around on car ride naps. So
with the country music.
Yeah, with the country music. Yeah.
The car is a secret weapon.
Yeah, back roads, baby. Back roads.
Wow.
Okay. So, going back to my question, for me personally, I think socially is where I struggle the most because for me, the lack of time I get to spend with my friends, I struggle with. I want to dedicate more time, but you have a bigger purpose now in life, and that's my internal struggle for me personally. But I accept it, and you know, my life is better now. It's just there's less balance for my friends. You know, there's let's say my son gets 80%, they get 20%. So, I mean, being here with you guys, that's my favorite thing is being able to make this time, spend it with you guys. But that's my personal thing. So,
I mean, before even having a kid, was it that much different? I mean, priorities always shift as you get older. So 80-20, I mean, personally, I think that sounds pretty even. I mean, 80% should probably go to your kid and 20% should go to your friends, is my assumption. I mean, so prior to giving birth, what would you say it was then? Did your friends still get 20% or more or less?
No, I'd say it was more like probably 50-50.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my wife would have majority of my time, and then my friends would probably have the rest. Work, I mean, I guess if you want to throw work in, that's almost all my time. But what I mean when I'm not working, it's dedicated to my friends.
I just love the fact that like Kevin loves these percentages. Like, are you an actuary secretly? Like, are you? I feel like we need to bring like a circle chart in here. You know,
and perspective. I'm a visual learner, so
it's
when you
back
think
to
about
back
numbers. Give him a pie chart. 50-50 split. 80-20.
Hey, well, to talk about the relationships aspect of it, I mean, I think it's strengthened some of my relationships. Like, exhibit A and B right here with you guys. I mean, just because we get to spend more time now doing this and, and my friends that are also parents too, whether that be, dog dads or, having the fur babies or like the human babies at home, it gives you another, like thing to connect with, and it's just another level of bonding because they get it. Like they understand like, hey, we might only see each other like 4 or 5 times a year, but that's okay. Like because life's busy. Like, I mean, go back 15 years, we would be hanging out every weekend, I mean, we'd see each other in school, obviously, but even out of school, like we were seeing each other at least once a weekend. Right. And now it's like, besides our dad chapter, it's maybe like 4 or 5, 6 times a year, depending on various events, with our friend group. So it's.
I think it's kind of what I'm always seeing from you guys. It's like, even as you get older, it's like, it forces you to be more intentional.
Yes.
It forces you to be more present. It's kind of like my thought process behind that. It's like, you can't just go with the motions because when you're watching your kid, like you can't just like doom scroll through your phone and go on Instagram or any social media. Like you got to be present. You got to be paying attention. You got to be intentional with that time.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it kind of like spills over into the rest of your lives. That like you got to be intentional at work because you only have X amount of time to get stuff done.
Yes.
You only have X amount of time to hang out with your friends. You only have X amount of time to hang out with your significant other. So it forces you to put boundaries, be more intentional with your time. Whereas prior to having a child, I'm assuming less responsibility, more freedom. So you didn't have to be intentional.
Very well said, Kevin. Yeah. I mean, just to build on that, I mean, 100%, like when you talk about making the most of your time, right? Like, I feel like, time was maybe just irrelevant back in the day, like before kids, I might have a few things to do throughout the day and I just get them done eventually. But now if I have like 5 tasks I got to do and the kids are simultaneously napping, I'm like, okay, boom. I've never been more efficient before in my life. Like it's really forced me to use my time management skills better and, become more efficient. And then same with friends, like you want to make those memories last. You want to just enjoy the moment. So I think that's really what kids force you to do.
I think the doom scroll, I think we're all part of that. I think that's the culture now, unfortunately, but you have to be present with your kid because, if you're not paying attention and he's climbing up or trying to get up on the couch, he falls back, you're in trouble.
Been there.
Yeah, that's a reality. So I'm glad that you have that in your mind already. That's good.
Been there. No, let's pause there for a second. What do you mean been there? The guy that's least on social media has been there. Please
you want to crack that open?
Oh, I mean, there's numerous times, but it just goes to show how quickly toddlers are for being like 18 months old, like you take your eye off them for just a few seconds. They're in a totally different room trying to go up the stairs. Like one time, I'm just remembering this when TJ was talking, like my daughter was up on top of the couch, and like trying to reach for the blinds or something. And like, I saw this like happening and I was just like, Kenzie, no, and maybe if I would have gone over a little more calmly, she wouldn't have really like reacted the way she did or gotten upset.
So you scared her.
I essentially kind of scared her in the fact, by the way, I went over to save her, running over there so fast. And then she did fall, but I caught her halfway. So like she only like kind of bopped her head. So, it wasn't like a serious situation, but it could have been. So
have you ever had any like supernatural like dad saves?
Like you see like those like diving catches.
How do you do that?
I think like reflexes.
I think that's kind of like on the daily. My wife probably,
it happens more than you think.
She doesn't appreciate this, but like, okay, so I like to have fun and be safe. I probably should focus on the different order, safe and then fun, because sometimes I push the fun to an extreme, and then like next thing you know, I gotta like make a diving catch. So I do remember using the tush baby once, and with Kenzie when she was little. And she was squirmy wormy, like just wrestling me, like trying to break free and like
on the tush baby.
So I still had one hand. I was holding my water, I'm holding her. And next thing you know, like she is getting out of my grip somehow and like started to fall off the tush baby. So like I dropped the water and then I made like a diving catch. So that was kind of a
sacrifice the water.
Sports Center top 10 nominee, if you will.
Great choice.
Well, speaking of falling kids, we had a little traumatic episode, say about a week or so ago. Emma's not gonna be happy with this one, but it was late night after work. Went to my parents, had dinner. We got home with the baby. She went upstairs, started changing him. I met her up there. We sing to him. That seems to, because now he just wants to get up. Like diaper changing is like a whole nother level now. It's like you got to distract him.
Yeah.
And
you said we sing?
We sing. Yeah, that seems to be the new thing. Believe it or not, I
Maybe
sing
we
a
could
song with her.
Set up a duet.
At the same time? Or you guys
Yeah,
have,
and
like,
whatever it
your own
is,
verses?
it's like he freezes and he looks and he's just like, like, and it works. So whatever works when you're parenting.
What do you sing?
A song from Miss Rachel.
Classic.
It's something that Emma started. I just started trying to get the words, and I kind of.
You can tell us more?
Oh, get to the good stuff. Get to the good stuff here.
No, basically, I was like, all right, all good. She sat him up. Was putting his clothes on him. I was like, all right, babe, I'm gonna go take a shower. Like I was exhausted. Turn around, throw my shirt in the hamper, and all of a sudden she just screams. And I'm like, oh my God. All right. So I run back in the room, and there was only like maybe 3 seconds that went by. She is sobbing on the floor with him in his hands, and he's crying, she's crying. And I'm like, what happened? Like, what's going on? She was, what I found out later, was in a state of shock. The baby actually fell off the dresser. The dresser is probably about this high off the floor.
Oh.
And I didn't know this at the time. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to stay calm. My number one rule is never panic in a situation. So I'm like, just asking like, what happened? What happened? So my first reaction was, let me grab the baby from her, make sure he's okay. And she was still sobbing. Like she couldn't answer me. It was weird. It was
because you are in a state of shock.
So I brought him out into the other room. I was like, let me see if I can calm him down, see what happened. I still don't really know what happened. I didn't know that he fell off the dresser.
Yeah.
So I get him out in the hallway, and I'm like, kind of, you do the baby bounce.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm like talking to blah, blah, blah. And he actually stops rather quickly. I'm like, okay, that's a good sign. Like,
yeah, he's a trooper.
all right. So then I'm like feeling his head, like if I feel any like bumps. And I'm like, start walking back towards the room, and I'm like, Emma, what's the matter? And he sees her sobbing, so he starts crying. And then I'm like, oh my God. So then I'm getting frustrated, but I'm trying to stay calm for everyone. So I bring him back away, and then I'm yelling at Emma, not meaning to be like mean, but I'm like, you need to calm down because you're not making the situation better. I need to figure out what happened. So she finally was like, and I thought for a second like maybe something was wrong with her, like because she like almost fell over when I stirred back up, and I was like, try to catch her as I took the baby. I was like, whoa. So she pretty much said she turned for a second to grab something off the other side of the dresser, and he was so far on the one side, he just tilted over. Like you were saying before, they're quick.
Yeah, they're strong.
And he
they're
went
quick.
over. Thank God we have this massive elephant stuffed animal like in the corner. It's huge. It's like life size.
Oh, the elephant saved the day.
She, from what she explained, she grabbed like his shirt, and I think the elephant took most of the boot, because I was like, did you hear like a crash? She's like, not really. I'm like, well, maybe he just like hit the side of the dresser, because I'm like, she's like, I don't know. We go to the hospital. She's still freaking out. And I put him on the floor. This kid just crawls over the door, and he just hits the door. That's like his new thing. He's obsessed with cabinets and doors.
He's like, I'm good.
I'm like, okay, that's a good sign. Like, we're good. Like, we're fine. And she's still going on. And then she runs and she goes and calls my mom. And I didn't even know she was doing this. She literally just was still sobbing this entire time. And I was like, wow, like, what are you doing? Like, come back in here. I think he's okay. So then my mom luckily got on the phone, and she was like, listen, Emma, everything's going to be okay. Why don't you go bring him in the dark room, shut the lights off, wait a few minutes, and then turn him on and look at his pupils. And that's actually a concussion protocol, which I learned. So this comes from experience. Thankfully, my mom told me.
So one more time?
We did
So
that.
you go in a dark room?
You go in a dark room. So I went to my bathroom,
Yeah, okay.
shut the lights off. We were all in there, and he's like squirming around, and we waited about like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. We turn the lights on, and then we stare at his pupils. And if your pupils change, because they're supposed to, depending on how much light exposure your eye takes in, then you're fine. If you're under concussion, the pupil won't
dilation.
change. So you check for the dilation, yeah.
Okay.
And that's a concussion protocol. So that was a learning experience for me. And then once that happened, she just calmed right down. Like she saw that, and she was like, okay, he's all right.
So the elephant took the brunt of the fall there,
Yes,
luckily.
thank God.
And who taught you guys this? Was it
My mom.
your mom?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out Mrs. Boyd.
Yeah.
Mrs. Boyd.
I remember my neighbor would tell me like, cause they have a 3-year-old. And so he's always playing with Kenzie and they're running around and, he said, if they fall, right. I mean, and they're crying, that's usually like a good thing.
Good sign.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like as long as they're
she said that too.
making some noise, then
Actually, apparently my brother James had a concussion, so she knew all about that when he was younger.
He had some experience
And he's
there.
the middle child, so I was like, oh, so
James.
is that why he's like that? But she
Makes sense.
said that it was they had to go to the hospital and stuff. Like he was in a daze, like, and she was nervous.
Way to keep your
then
cool.
Then he snapped out of it, and she was like, "They're like, Mom, he's okay." And my mom, she was explaining the whole thing. I was like, "Oh man,
Wow.
That goes
because I
back
thought we were
to,
gonna have to go to the hospital, and I didn't want to do that, obviously.
Oh
but
yeah, been there, done that. Plenty
bottom
to learn.
line,
Wow.
stay calm in the
Yeah.
situation, no matter what it is. I know it's scary, but I've always taught myself that, and thank God I did, because I've never seen my wife like that since I've known her. She couldn't even answer me. I was like, she was just so flabbergasted that she basically dropped the baby without. I said that could happen to anyone.
Oh yeah.
And then she's thinking of everything she did wrong. Like I usually have him in the middle thing. I said, listen, from now on, I took the changing table off. I said, we're never changing. He's too big now. You
Yeah.
have to do it on the floor. And it's
He
been on the floor
graduated.
since.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
graduated.
That's
yeah,
it. So, hey, I mean, been there,
That was
done that.
that.
Lots of ER trips, over the last couple of years. So,
Really?
yeah.
How many?
Various things. I think Kenzie, we've been there 2 or 3 times. Carson got his first recently, but I mean,
safe
all
than
good.
sorry.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. Never like, actual urgent or serious situation. Just like, it always seems, maybe TJ, you can relate to this, or maybe with the dog side of things. Every time one of our kids gets like really sick or hurt, it's always Friday after 5. Like it's like Friday at 6 or like Saturday morning. And I'm like, man, like the pediatrician's closed, like it can't call them up and bring the kids in and just, get them checked out with their doctor that they know.
Yeah.
So like we almost went to swim class. We know our pediatrician where he takes his kids for swim class. We were almost about to go to the swim school to find him one day because we had a feeling he might be there. But, luckily we sided on, just
Why do you
figuring
think
it
that
out
is?
ourselves.
Happens on Friday after 5 and Saturday.
Maybe it's just bad luck, first time parent. But I think it's just like you just panic sometimes. And like TJ said, your reaction is so important because you might see videos of like kids, like if they bang their head on something, if the parent or the grown up starts laughing, sometimes they'll laugh with them, or if like they start panicking and like crying, like the kid will probably cry too. So it's the reaction is really huge. I feel like right away after something happens.
They do say that the baby's brain from age 0 to 5 is by far the most influential.
Can't imagine all that
has
they're
the
learning.
highest ability to observe and absorb as much information as possible.
Yeah.
That like I can only imagine what it's processing and thinking,
Oh, you
especially
just-
when it can't speak.
Right. You learn so much every single day. I feel like at that age, it's crazy. Like seeing my daughter and her words and just all that she's experiencing every day. It's cool.
And at the same time, they're teaching you.
Right. Oh, and yeah, I think that's a good point,
That's
Kevin.
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Wow,
Coming
you're
from the
this-
dog
the
dad
intern?
there. Yeah. Dropping some knowledge.
Kev,
Like,
I know you're obsessed with watching those videos, a day in the life, right?
Yeah.
People waking up, their routine, people flashing water in their face, they're brushing their teeth, taking a shower, getting their coffee, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
What do you think it's like in the day life of a dad from your perspective?
future Kevin. Yeah.
In what I want it to be like, or what I currently think.
What do you think it is?
I think it's a lot of reactiveness. I think people tend to. It's easier to be reactive. It's like you let the day happen to you. You let the child and those situations happen to you. Whereas, like, what I'm hoping for me to have or be like when I'm a father is to be more proactive. Again, bringing it back to that intentional piece is like kind of getting ahead of the issues before they're issues, which I'm assuming has to be impossible because you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But if I can control as much of my environment as possible, is success in my mind. So to answer your question, I think currently it's going to be reactive, and my end goal is to be as proactive as possible.
So I like that, but what do you think actually happens? Like,
So if
let's-
you
like,
were,
like we woke up, like, what do you think, like 6 a.m., whatever it might be, like based off of one of those videos, what do you think? I'm curious. From
Change
your
the diaper?
perspective.
I'm assuming every human has to do the bathroom first thing in the morning. That's what I do. That's what all my dogs do. So I'm assuming the baby has to be no different. So change the diaper or potty train or let them release whatever they need to release.
What do you currently do when you get up?
Take the dogs out
First thing?
first thing.
Okay. So you have some kind of preparation because you're thinking of them first.
Yeah.
They got to go. You have to go. So
How,
that's
how
normal.
many times you let the dogs out to use the restroom
4
per day?
5 at max.
Okay. What do you think, TJ? Maybe a few more times for.
Someone told me you change a diaper 9 times on average. Is that
I was gonna
true?
say you're taking the over under on 5 diapers per
I
day.
would say 9.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
diapers.
So
it's probably every 2 to 3 hours.
Oh my.
Yeah.
yeah, so break down the
Yeah.
math there. Yeah,
Math guy, what do we got?
probably. I'll take the over if we're setting it at 9 for
9
for
times.
newborn diapers. Yeah, I'll take the over.
And sometimes are you just changing
I'm
diapers
taking
just to
over.
change them?
Sometimes you just you get a few minutes and you're like, I haven't changed a diaper in a while. Let me check.
Yeah.
And if it's
Yeah.
blue, you're like, all right, that's
Blue. What does blue mean?
my
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they have indicators on most of them that if they're blue, that means they're wet and you got to change them, which is very helpful. So if you're sitting there, because sometimes I have the same reaction, like just like hanging out with them, whatever. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I got to check their diaper. If they do number 2, you're going to know it. Trust me. Number 1, you might not know, and you might be, no one likes to sit around in wet, soggy diapers. You know what I mean? So
course.
you gotta be cognizant of that. But yeah, it's definitely a lot more than you think. I
Wait,
think
so walk
that's,
me through your morning then. What is a morning like then? Like I'm missing the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You wanna-
you tell us, Kevin. What do you think after a diaper change? What do you do after that?
Feed them.
Yeah.
Burp them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dress them.
Yeah.
Get them ready for the day.
Yeah.
Get them a bottle.
Yeah, depends if you have to go to work yourself then.
Oh.
The
True.
whole, yeah.
So are the babies waking up before you guys?
You don't know. That's the beauty of it.
Ooh.
See, and that's the thing that I think a lot of dads to be don't fully understand. Hopefully you can make them aware that you might have this structure, and we know people that are very structured, and it's hard to follow that structure when you have a kid because you're on their time. Like, let's say I want to get up and I wanted to read, even though that's not what I do. If that kid wakes up, you got to go attend to them, or your partner if you're lucky, but it depends. Do you have to go to work? Did you give yourself enough time? I mean, it's all about time management, and you could make it work, but that time you're going to have and your routine is definitely going to be impacted and changed forever. It's just different.
I feel like time management is hands down one of the most underrated skills.
Yeah.
For people in general.
Oh yeah, I mean in all jobs, right? I mean all.
Everyone claims to
routines.
be good,
right.
until like you really get tested.
I was just.
And I'm assuming a child has to be the ultimate test.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hands down. I mean,
agree.
I was telling TJ on the way up here, like one of the things I thought was going to be a cakewalk having a kid was like the amount of time, like that I was going to have free time. Like for example, we had a bunch of house projects we wanted to work on, my wife and I. So I was like, oh yeah, honey, we'll do those during my paternity leave. I was lucky enough to take a 12-week paternity leave. So I'm like, yeah, I don't have to go to work for 12 weeks. I'm like, yeah, we'll get all that done. I'll paint.
What was that, 3 months?
Yeah, 3 months.
Wow.
So I was like, I'll paint that room, I'll clean up the basement, get the garage all set. Do all that during paternity leave, and then our daughter's born February 11th. And yeah, so I didn't quite realize the time aspect, and how that is basically it disappears from your life. So I didn't get any of those things done. I actually felt busier in those 12 weeks than I did before when I was going to my full-time job. So that was kind of like maybe a bit of a wake up call for me. It was like, okay, I don't have the time I thought I was going to. And then
Why do you think that was? Do you feel like you were wasting time before, or like
I think it might have been a little bit of both. Like I wasn't being as efficient as I could have been before. Like, going through the whole pregnancy, I was trying to help my wife out, and cook meals for her and like clean up the house and, rub her feed and all that stuff. So, I was doing all that, but yeah, I guess my younger self was not as efficient, didn't use the time management skills as well as I could now. So it's funny how life works that way, right?
yeah, I think time is hands down the most important commodity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you exchange everything for.
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end of the day. And when you have a child, is my assumption, is that you got to give it all your time.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference.
They take up.
I think inefficiency is part of that, but the other part is you don't realize like you can't really be too efficient because like if you're watching them, like I'll try to do stuff on my phone, I'll try to look at emails and stuff like that, and then next thing you know, you're getting distracted. You have to go attend to them, or they're not going to let you. Like my son's thing now is if I'm sitting on the couch, he wants to be on the couch, which is fine, but then I have to be hands-on with him because he could fall right off. So sometimes I'll just sit on the floor with him, and then he'll like play with me or he'll go play around, and then I'll be able to do some stuff on my phone. But that only lasts so long. So your productivity kind of diminishes because you get interrupted so much. Like how productive can you really be?
Yeah.
And that I think is so underestimated.
Well, do you ever think the definition of productivity changes? Like, what does productive mean before you had a child and then after?
That's a great question. I mean,
I think it changes, but
Like, what's a productive morning today for you guys? Or just now having a child? You wake up at what, 6, 7? Or what do you?
I would say 6 for us is the latest that I get to sleep in these days. So yeah, I mean, productive. I would say it was a productive morning. Like, you know, TJ and I, we got on the road by 8:30, 9 a.m. So I was, you know, after changing a few diapers already, you know, saying bye to my daughter.
Well, walk me through that. Like,
Oh, yeah, so
6 to 8.
So my son wakes up around 6. So, you know, I try to give my wife a few extra minutes of sleep if possible. And
he's what, 3 months?
6 months. Yeah, it flies by, right? So, yeah, so he's getting big. So, I was feeding him his apple, his little apple puree food, and giving my wife a few extra minutes to shower and get ready for her day. She was taking the kids out on a little adventure, hiking today. So, yeah, so I was just getting the car packed, you know, playing with him a little bit and kind of getting prepped for my day as well, and, you know, going to pick up TJ. So, my daughter woke up at 8, and that's when I gave her a hug and said, Dad has got to go to work. So she's like, Miss Dad. So like, you know, when you talk about, you know, those moments that like, that kind of hits you, it's like, oh, it just like kills me to have to like leave her. And I was trying to explain to her, I'm going to work right now. So then, you know, hopefully we don't have to work for our whole lives, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, that has to be like as sad as it is to hear, like somewhat motivating at the same time.
Yeah,
you know?
It's tough. You know, she's at the window waving to me, and but hopefully she'll be back when I get home, and you know, she'll be running and give me a hug. But we picked up 5 breakfast sandwiches, right, TJ? You know, we got here, met up with you, Kev, and yeah, I mean, it's a productive day so far.
That's the weekend. That's the easy stuff.
Right.
What about, give me like a Monday morning where you got to go into work. What's your crazy day? Give me your craziest day of the week, and then give me that morning.
TJ, you take it. you're out the door early.
I'm out the door early. Trip sleeps in a little longer probably than most because Emma works from home, so she can allow that. So it works with our schedule.
That has to be a luxury.
But we also put him down later, so that's a little tough too.
What's late?
It depends on how his schedule, like when he naps and whatnot. But like I'd say, like we'll put him down at like 9:30, sometimes 10 o'clock, and like that's late for some people. Like one of my friends, he'll go down. His daughter goes down at like 6:30, and he's like, "Oh my god, I don't know how you guys do." I'm like, "Well, you both have to be up earlier. I do too, but my wife doesn't. So that's what works with our schedule. So it's all about adjusting to what you and your wife do, really."
So you go to bed at 10. What time is he waking up?
Like I'd say like 7:30, 8.
Okay.
Yeah, kids are flexible.
They're flexible, and you could kind of try to train them a little bit, just being consistent with their naps.
So it's like based off of your schedule.
Yeah,
okay.
But then when they wake up in the middle of the night and they don't have a good night, you're not going to have a good night either.
Yeah.
So
you pay
that
for
can
it
throw
later.
off the whole schedule for the day, and you come to learn that sometimes like you don't really want to miss the nap time because then it kind of messes you up later in the day big time. Like they'll fight you to go to bed, and that's never fun because you're tired and they're tired, and then it's just a nightmare.
Seems backwards, right? But like we've noticed, so like for us, if we work a long day, we don't nap, right? Like we're exhausted. I'm sure we could fall asleep within 2 minutes if our head hits the pillow, right? But like kids, it seems with our experience at least, like the more overtired they are, the harder it is for them to fall asleep. Like with our kids, like if we miss nap time, then it's like bedtime's even tougher because like they're extra tired, so they're like running around and not falling asleep. So the routine is good to keep them on a schedule, but sometimes life happens and you have to adjust. And trips, like if you're taking trip on a trip, then Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to talk about that, the planes and the kids are flexible though. So you have to just,
Yeah. Well, if you're going on a plane, definitely try to feed them when you're taking off and when you're landing. That's the trick.
oh yeah.
Because
So
the air pressure with the ears.
he was good
Luckily, he's been amazing. I mean, with that stuff and bring a few toys, the sticky toys. You put them on the window, the spinners.
though. Oh yeah.
They like that. They make bungee cords. You can hang from like tray tables, and so this way, when they're constantly throwing stuff, it doesn't go on the floor. So there's all little things that you can do and be prepared for. I like to think we are, and he did really well himself, and that was the best thing.
How long was that
what
flight,
concerned.
TJ?
About 4 hours.
Okay. So
Yeah, he's like a seasoned traveler now. I mean, that's his second. He had one national, one international.
he'll be ready for Greece then.
and he's
a
doing
10-hour flight. That was
I don't think I'm ready
quite
for
the
that one.
privilege. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was. I give you so much credit, but I tried to help you. In that situation,
we
so.
had our nanny.
Yeah.
TJ was
Hey,
huge.
Uncle
help.
TJ was there to help.
That's right.
Take her. That's not
Well,
easy.
Before I totally go off on a tangent, I wanted to come back to a point we talked about early on, probably 20 minutes ago. But Kevin was talking about like just that unconditional love, right? That you have from your dogs, right? Or like, I was a cat dad before I was a human dad, and you feel that, even with the fur babies, right? Like, I mean, Lucky, my cat, she's a little more self-sufficient. Like, I can let her be for the day and she'll be fine. But, the kids, that's one thing like that I didn't know going into being a human dad, like becoming a father. Like you feel that like there's definitely a deep connection and like emotional feeling like when you hold your child for the first time, but like that love at first sight or whatever you want to call it in the movies, like that didn't hit me right away. Like that type of like adoration that you have like for your kids, like that was something that was like that grew on me, like that was like nurtured over the first few months. So that's why the paternity leave, I was so fortunate to have that opportunity, to bond. Like that's what they call it. It's for bonding with your child, and I feel like that's exactly what it was. And I talked to one of my coworkers at school, and he's funny. His kids are grown up now, and he's got these teenagers, and he goes, oh yeah, I think I was back at work the next day. He's like, actually I might have been at practice later that day, the same day my son was born. He goes, well, that might explain why I'm still not bonded with him. And he's like 18, so I thought that was funny, but
I'm sure he has some regrets there.
Yeah, but it was different.
It was a different time.
It was different times, right? So yeah.
But to kind of think through like that before and after kids, a lot of talk on the kids, of course, and who you were as a person. But what about like you as a partner and you as like for your significant other? Because one of my biggest things is I love date night. I love going out to dinner with my wife and going out to a crappy Italian spot or just a pizzeria. Like I don't care as long as we're out to eat and like just me and her is like one of my like things that I look forward to.
Oh yeah.
And I am very nervous for after kids. Like I'm assuming taking kids out like date night probably won't happen for a little bit unless you get a babysitter. And
I'm glad he brought this up.
like what was that? Like what was like your tell me.
Basically, your partnership pre and post baby, it's unique. It's different. Sometimes you feel like you're like roommates in a sense, which kind of sucks. But it's because you're dedicating so much to this new human being that sometimes you forget to show each other emotion. And I know I'm guilty of it. And that's something that I want to work on going forward. But it's hard. You definitely like need to cut out time and have that date night, which we usually don't. And I really want to change that. I don't know if you could speak on that as well, but that's a really good point.
Absolutely. We actually, my wife and I did this for the first time. So now, we've been trying to prioritize date nights, and we actually set it in we did like yearly goals this year. Like we sat down at a coffee shop and
I love that
and planned out our year. I know
taking one of Kevin's.
Yeah, Kevin's big on yearly goals. So, and we put date night into our calendar. Like we wanted to do, minimum once a month. So, that's 12 date nights throughout the year. So, I mean, we're trying to stick to that.
What do you guys normally do?
I mean, like it depends if we're bringing the kids or not. So,
kids, no.
Yeah. So
how do we define date night? Kids or no kids? My opinion, no kids.
No kids.
I think, you can get creative.
You can do dinner with family, but a date
That's
night.
a family dinner.
Right.
I'm saying
Exactly.
date night,
Exactly.
you and the wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's just like, you'll laugh, but like we used to go to ShopRite on Friday night. Like that was our date night, you know, like we'd go grocery shopping when it wasn't busy, you know.
Are you going to count that as one of the 12?
Probably not now. I mean, it would still be fun to do that, but like we would usually combine it with like ice cream or something.
Food shopping.
Yeah. We'd get an ice cream
a little romantic.
cone. Yeah.
What's the first date night coming up then?
First date night? I mean, well, now that the weather's warming up here in Jersey a little bit, probably like to take my wife to like the boardwalk. That was our first date. So maybe recreate some of that. You know,
ready, Shannon.
Yeah. Hey, hopefully she's not listening.
I just had a really good
surprise.
idea. I don't know. I mean, just throwing it out there, but I mean, we could totally, I'd probably be a little bit more taking out for Emma and I, but with the two, but we could maybe watch them one night and you guys can go have your date night and then we can do reversal.
Look at
That's
that.
helping
Watch
dads.
Trip.
Ooh, okay. So Emma, watch out, Emma. So you got outnumbered then. So you have 3 on 2, huh?
And this is how like
Maybe I'm going to
fake
regret
cousin-
saying this.
TJ's like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Hey, that could be fun.
Hey,
That's
I
kind of
don't
where like the
know. I
fake
mean,
cousins get born.
We could definitely,
Like, think about that.
Right,
That was
right.
a great question though, because that's definitely
so
reality.
important.
It is.
I think
and
it's
you and
just-
I feel like you and Tay are really good at going out. I know you guys like to have your dinners, your steak dinners, and whatever it might be Italian, but I
It's
think
just
it is
to give-
important
yeah.
and try not to lose that too much when you guys do try.
Yeah.
Because it's
Well,
tough.
and for all the you know, soon to be parents out there, you know, like upcoming dads, I do want to say like it doesn't end. Like your life's not over once you have kids. Like
Yeah,
you
absolutely not.
could get
Started.
creative. Exactly.
No,
It's the best chapter yet, right?
Yeah.
The dad chapter. So
I gotta assume it needs to be like one of your final versions of yourself. Like,
Oh,
I would
yeah.
assume next that would be like grandfather, and I can only imagine
Slow down.
what that feels like. And when your kids have kids, like that's probably
Yeah.
like mind blowing.
Yeah.
And I see it with my in-laws.
Pump
Like
the
they are by
brakes.
far some of the best grandparents I've ever seen, and it's and they always all grandparents I've always asked this question. I'm like, what do you prefer, being a parent or a grandparent? And 10 times out of 10, it's always being a grandparent.
Right,
so
right.
it's always good to have that in the back of your mind. But like, it's just realizing like this is going to be a good portion of your life
Oh yeah.
for a minimum of 18 years.
Right.
Assuming they go to school, whatever, you stay close. But 18 years, like they're your responsibility
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
by law.
And then to go off of what Kendrick said, like, you know, it's the best. It is the best thing. And I tell my wife I love her every day. I give her a kiss before I go to work. So that's still there. We both know there's love. It's just about showing it and being more affectionate. And I'm guilty of that, and I can work on that personally. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, yeah.
But I do have a question for Kendrick that I think would be very helpful for wannabe dads,
Mhm.
and that would be if you can go back and tell your pre-dad, if you could sit him down for 5 minutes in a room, what would you say to him?
Ooh, I like that. So I'm going back in time, at least, 2.5 years, right? 3 years ago. Even if I went back further. So I'd probably tell my pre-dad self, like, just take a deep breath, like, live in the moment more, like just stay in the present, because you get worked up and, and stress takes over sometimes, and you start to regret things, and like, and not act like your true self. So I would say, yeah, I would tell myself it's going to be okay. Like, just enjoy the beautiful chaos that awaits you in your future, because it's going to be the best part of your life, and the best days. Like I think about Christmas morning we just had, like, and seeing like the look on my daughter's face, like running down by the tree and everything. And like, watching her bowl for the first time, talk about like a date day. Like we went bowling with her for the first time and she's rolling it down the alley. It was going like half a mile per hour, so it's just like those moments, like you have to enjoy them. So yeah, I would just tell myself, don't sweat the small stuff, because really, I mean, it's all small stuff at the end of the day. So
Yeah, I think
What
that
would
was beautiful.
pre-dad Kendrick say back to that?
he'd be like, "Oh, you're full of it." Like, no, I'm still gonna watch all my sports and play all my basketball and go to the gym. And I mean, I'm sure past self knew like that. Kids maybe would be on the horizon one day, but it's like impossible to prepare your mindset, I feel like, for that. So, yeah, I mean,
Was there a quality that like current Kendrick misses about pre-dad Kendrick?
current quality. I mean, in terms of like maybe like we talked about the relationships, like maybe just like how active I was, in terms of like doing other things like hanging with my friends, or playing in a basketball league.
Going back to having more time.
Right.
Playing
The time is the biggest thing for me. I mean,
playing sports,
right.
golfing,
all of that
whatever it
stuff.
may be.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so if that's, an answer to your question, that's probably one of the aspects, like, my competitiveness. I still have that drive. I still have that fire,
Hulk.
but.
Oh yeah, we saw that during apple juice.
Oh yeah.
Did you learn anything, Kevin,
right.
from that?
From that advice?
Yeah. About the talk you'd have with the pre-dad?
I think it's what I got from that was that no matter how bad you think it is, you'll get through it. It's like, don't sweat the small stuff. And that sounds so cliche, but like, I'm sure there's some days that feel like they will never end, or maybe those weeks that feel like it's been one of those weeks where like your child has not slept a single hour that week, and stuff is hitting the fan.
Yeah.
You and your wife have been fighting all week, and like you get to that Thursday night, Friday night, and it's back to back to back, and you're like, you gotta tell yourself, be like, you know what, you're gonna get through this. No matter how bad it gets, like you will get through this, and it'll be okay. Is my takeaway from that.
Hey, perfectly said right there.
So, Kev, focusing on you now, what do you think you're going to be great at as a dad, as a future dad, and what's something you may lack in?
I like to think I'm going to be very good at learning from my mistakes.
Like that.
So almost ties into the same answer for your second question. I make a lot of mistakes, and
as we all do.
I tend to make them more often than I like to think the most average person, because I tend to do before I think. I tend to say before I think. And it sounds so typical. Think before you do, think before you talk. But I just can't process that. I just do. And I do it too quickly. I do something that kind of forgets, and I cut corners. And I think I tend to make way more mistakes, but at the same time, it's almost like my superpower, because I'll take those mistakes and I do my best not to forget them, but there's so many. So I try to prioritize those mistakes and learn from the biggest down to the smallest. And I'm assuming that if I continue doing that, mistakes will get smaller and smaller until I get better.
I think the first step is admitting, and I think you just did that. And that was beautifully said. And I totally agree, knowing you for a majority of my life. That is very much you, but I think it also plays into a strength, because you are a risk taker, and you
love risk.
may make more mistakes than the average person, but for sometimes that pays off very well for you. So
I appreciate
that.
High risk, high
a great
reward.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
I mean, I think that is life. I mean, when you have these young children looking up to you, I mean, or dogs, cats, whatever it may be, like, yeah, sometimes you got to take risks, for them, and they don't always pay off, but, you have to calculate and, weigh the opportunity cost, but.
Totally. Comes down to those calculated decisions, because if you think about it, life is just one big risk.
Right.
Having a child is a risk.
Right.
There's no guarantee of that outcome or what is going to happen to that kid this time next year or 5 years from now.
Such a miracle, the whole process.
Think about this 18 years ago.
Right.
Think about 18 years in the future. I'm completely different people. I can only imagine a child.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's something now that you're guilty of that you didn't think you would be before you became a dad?
Something I'm guilty of now.
You thought you'd never do it, but you're guilty of it now.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Well, in terms of like I don't want to call it rage, but like my patience, right? Like I always thought, like, we talked about the blocks last week. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
that was a hit.
It happens to the best of them. Yeah. I mean, by the way, just to clarify a little bit on that, because I've gotten a lot of feedback on that. I didn't like go out of my way. Like, I didn't run across the room to kick this block tower over. It happened to be in my path of walking. So
I knew that was going to bother you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
I just kicked it.
We got to set the record straight here, right? I mean,
I knew it.
And Kevin, while we're on the topic,
I love that video,
of
by the way.
setting the record straight.
That one was a hit.
I did say fudge in the kitchen. I misinterpreted your question, but thinking about it more, I didn't actually curse. which was the funny part. I said fudge.
The actual word.
Actual word fudge.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on
This one
censoring
was
my.
eating them alive.
Yeah, no, I did. I wanted to set the record straight, and so Kenzie, my daughter, was saying fudge, like actually the word fudge, all like over and over. Which I don't know if that's a win or not, but
Blessing.
yeah, could be worse. So okay, now that that's out of the way, my patience level. I guess I thought it'd be easier. Like, oh, how bad can it be? You have a kid, like they're pretty much going to listen to you and not like get you stressed out all the time. But then, as we've all touched on today, like there are stressful moments. Like there are times like, should we go to the ER? Like, are they okay? Right. And then there's times, you're upset with your spouse, like your significant other. So like, there's a lot that boils into it. And I thought I was going to be able to handle all that, like with ease and with grace. But
no one can.
It's not as easy.
That was a good answer.
Yeah, it was like a wake up call again, but I'm getting better. So.
I think a big one, and I think Keough will agree with me on this one. Screen time for kids.
Oh yeah, that's a good answer.
I was very much so like not gonna happen, this and that, and man, and did I bite my words on that one? I fully admit it.
We could totally entertain a child without a screen for a day. Yeah,
I'm all for limiting it. I try my best.
People have. You think about
and
it.
People have.
It's
and people
possible.
have. It's possible.
Hats off to them.
But in the world we live in now, the difference is between when we grew up and when they're growing up is the amount of screens that are available. Our phones are always on us. Let's be honest. There's tablets everywhere. There's TVs all over the place. So they're naturally seeing it more. And then once they see that, they're like, oh, I want to see more because naturally it's flashing images. So I'm guilty of having him do screen time, but I also am aware of how much he takes in. So I think for me, that would be my thing. Like, oh, I'm never going to let him watch this and that, blah, blah. And like, it happens, especially like when you're at dinner you feed him and he's good. And then like, now it's time for you to eat, but you have to try and entertain him. Sometimes the tablet's coming out. Sorry. That's just
blame you.
And there are people out there that will attack people. And it's like, there's a difference. It's between if there's a parent that just, here's your tablet for the whole dinner.
Right.
That's a no-no in my book. But if you've given your conscious effort, you brought some toys, you try to entertain them, but you need to eat too. All right, the tablet's coming out. So there's a balance. It's all about balance, in my opinion.
Exactly. The balance is key. And that's why I think this generation of parents is by far the most influential because we're the last generation to experience both. Like I'm assuming we're all raised without being distracted by tablets as a kid because the iPad didn't come out until the 2000s.
Yeah,
most parents today are born in the 90s or before, so we're the bridge essentially because eventually our kids and our kids' kids and those kids of those kids will think of this time as like ancient times. Like, what do you mean you had no tablets? And now with AI, it's like there's gonna be a whole world that like we lived through that will be non-existent to them.
Right.
I think that blows my. So I'm all for the tablets, but it comes down to the balance.
Everything in moderation, right?
Yes.
TJ, I had a great idea here. I mean, we have the same pediatrician, right? So I'm not going to call anyone out here, but we should totally try to get him on this show one day, talk to him unfiltered, get some questions, right? Because I want to see like, okay, what would our pediatrician, do on a 10-hour flight to Greece? Real talk. Would he just have enough toys and healthy snacks?
He's very down to earth, so I think he'd be great.
He's a super cool guy. He's the best. I mean, if you know him, you know him. But
also give like the professional side.
Right. So like, because I mean, we had a screen on our long flight. We had the honor to get to go to Greece over the summer. And I mean, Kenzie was watching like Finding Nemo and Frozen and like, we kind of we tried to mix in toys and snacks and stuff like that. But I wonder like what he would say, be like, oh yeah, no screens on the 10-hour flight. Be like, oh really? Like what's the actual answer?
He would say that, but
why are parents allowed to
set
do
that up? What's that?
Why are parents allowed to have screen time the entire time but not your kid?
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to ask the pediatrician.
So, that was a great point, Kendrick. I just want to switch it up a little bit. We're getting towards the end here. I think I could speak for Kevin and myself. We were blown away at some of the comments that some of your students, current, previous students, even moms reaching out and saying stuff like, I knew who you were, but I don't know if you realize how much you actually impact people's lives, and it's pretty special.
Well, thank you. I mean,
awesome.
It means the world to me. It truly does. I haven't even seen all of them, probably, to be honest. I mean, I've been looking and trying to keep up with it, but like just hearing some of them, they've really like, warmed my heart. And it's just like when we talk about the goldfish story last week, right? Or the starfish story, I'm sorry. And like how it's just, if you can help one, like it makes the difference. And that's why I got into this profession. And so to hear that I'm helping some students, former students, like it makes my whole world.
I'm gonna read a few off if you don't mind.
I'd love to. Sure.
This one girl said, "I'm a junior in college and this man changed my life my senior year of high school. Hashtag Motivation Monday, and taught me many life skills and lessons. For real, one of the best teachers ever." Another one, this seems to be from a mother. She said, "Even before you became a father, you were a father figure to many kids, my son included. Thank you for being such an amazing teacher and person. Forever thankful."
Oh, wow. You guys are going to make me emotional here in episode 2.
I think that's just the point here. Cause
thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that, Ankur. Oh, man.
I'm not a super emotional person myself, but, this definitely, almost brought tears to my eyes. Like randomly at night, I had a long day at work with the kid, all that stuff. And I'm sitting here like when I can go on social media, and Kevin's been doing an amazing job with it, but I see that and like one of my best friends is being talked about like that. I'm like, wow, like maybe this is something special we got here. So I just want to bring that to light, and we welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and
we welcome all comments.
Just hearing. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate all the comments, and feel free to keep reaching out. I love to hear from my current students, my former students, especially some students from like 5-10 years ago now. Like this is my 10th year teaching. So I've gotten to know like over thousands of students, and just to hear like a few stories and like comments that I've impacted their lives in a positive way. It truly means the world to me. And Motivational Mondays for life. Yeah. That's always stuck since my first year teaching. So I'm glad, they're still living that theme out in their own lives. And yeah, I mean, from the parents too that are, commenting and following, like, thank you all so much for the support. It's just like, it means the world. And I remember coaching like the middle school basketball team, and it felt like I was like the Pied Piper, they called me, where I had like 10 kids like following me everywhere I went, like, going to different games and coaching them up. And it's just that was before kids, but it's been cool like to have that type of impact on these students' lives. So I mean, just to be their father figure in a way, or role model, like for those that might not have one in their life, it's just I'm truly grateful for that. So thank you.
What it comes down to. It's like you are by far one of the best role models I know, and it sounds like I'm not alone there. So kudos to you, man.
Thank you. I love you guys. I love all my students, and you guys are the reason why I keep teaching and why I'm doing this now. So yeah, love you all.
Yeah,
thank you.
I just want to bring light to that.
Oh yeah.
So
thank you, TJ. And anything, any dad jokes of the week?
Oh yeah, if you want to end it with a dad joke, that's fine.
Yeah. So am I the sole owner of the dad joke of the week? Oh, okay. Well,
I can't be one.
You're not allowed, and I don't think I'm corny enough. Maybe not yet.
Not yet.
Hey, did you hear about the fire at the circus?
No.
It was intense.
Oh my God.
Here all week, guys.
And we're still working on those.
Yeah. I'll try better next time. 3 strikes and I'm out.
Oh, man.
All right, so episode 2 is almost a wrap.
Okay.
We want to kind of leave off on before and after dad.
Yeah.
Piece of advice.
Final thoughts. Yeah.
Just one word.
One word?
Doesn't have to be one word. But
multiple words.
30
seconds. Go.
How about we don't sweat the small stuff? I think that was a big one there, right? So from before to after, and, just living in the moment. We talked about making the most of your time and your memories, because life is short. And I'm already we're talking about grandkids on this episode, like slow down. We got to pump the brakes, but like, I'm just thinking ahead of like, I know parents that have teenagers, and I'm more worried about that phase when like my daughter, doesn't want to hang out with me anymore. So I'm trying to make the most of these moments while she's still like my number one fan. So yeah, that's what I'm leaving off with.
Yeah, I think for me it'd be don't sweat it, like we talked about. There's more support than you think. So don't be scared. And honestly, you have so much to look forward to if you are going to be a father. And you, naturally, as a young kid, you might be scared, but it is an amazing journey. So that would be my advice.
Yeah.
Well said.
All right. Well, it's a wrap. Thanks for joining
tuning in.
us. Yeah. See you next time.
It's just next week.
Yep. Dad chapter.